Hello everybody, I am FuzzyFace and welcome back today to what is Season 3 of our Motorsport Manager career. We're on with the third season, start of the third season today. It will be our first season in Formula 2 after getting promoted from Formula 3 last time out. It looked, after the halfway point of the season for race 5 and 6, it looked like Arden were going to end up catching us. We were really poor in qualifying, though. We managed to point together for races 7 and 8, the last two races of the season. We went on, absolutely dominated, won the championship. We have gained promotion. Joseph Newgarden won the Drivers' Championship. Jerry did really well. He won a race towards the end of the season, 3 podiums. He's had 2 really good seasons. But for now, he is going to be the reserve driver. We're going to promote Christian Lundgaard into Jerry's position here, just so that if Charles Leclerc does accept the contract offer that we do have in for him at the moment, hopefully he does go ahead and accept that, we can put him straight into this seat, because I did that last season with Joseph Newgarden, because the driver that I wanted to replace him with was sat in the reserve seat. Newgarden was very upset that we'd actually brought him in and put him in a reserve seat when he's not actually set to be a reserve driver. So we're going to get Charles Leclerc straight in here. Lundgaard unfortunately has to go. He didn't race with us last season. His first season he did pretty well. Out of 8 races he had 2 podiums, one of those being a win. Whereas that first season Jerry did really well, 4 podiums, one of those being a win, and last season 3 podiums, one of those being a win. He performed above expectations last season, but I don't think he's going to be quite ready for Formula 2. He's not progressing at the rate, pretty much because our HQ doesn't have much. We do have a test track, we do have the Handling Development Centre. It doesn't seem to bring them along a lot more this season, but anyway, we're going to get on. We've got the chassis design coming up. Jerry is unhappy at the demotion, but what can we do about it? Lundgaard, meanwhile, is happy. We've got the car design unlocked now, so we've got the new chassis. We've only got £16 million. With this being Formula 2 this season, it's going to be a lot more expensive than it was last season in Formula 2. Last season it cost us £12 million, whereas at the moment we can spend about £21 million because we can go £5 million overdrawn. So the base stat modifier is going to be really helpful this season, because I think engines, I'm not sure if the engines are even spec anymore. But with this being the first season and we're wanting to keep costs down, we're not really going to be pushing for the championship this season. We just want to have a season where we can get things in order, get the money flowing back into the team. We might just have to go for this Opel engine like we had last season in Formula 3. There's not much of a base stat modifier. The engines at one point were spec, but I can't remember if I actually read that they're not spec anymore and that it's just the gearboxes and brakes that we're going to be working on. So just in case, I'm going to, and not to waste £4.6 million, we are going to go with Opel. Fuel supplier, meanwhile, we do need to spend a little bit of money here. We can either spend 4 or 5. We might as well try and get improvability up for the couple of parts that we do need to develop. Meanwhile, material supplier, not going to be either here nor there. Tyre wear, tyre heating, we've not got a lot of room to work on either of these. Neither of these make a really big impression on what we can do. This one does add a little bit to tyre heating, but again, we're going to go pretty cheap. We're just going to keep this car as cheap as possible this season, I think. So we're going to go with those brakes. Not going to do much, then just hope that we get some decent dilemmas through. Brake supplier as well, so there's only a £2 million difference here, so we'll just have a look. This one can improve tyre heating. It doesn't improve tyre heating that much for the cost of it, but maybe for an extra £2 million, or this one does medium on each side, we might as well go with the Cosworth one. Or is it best holding this £2 million back, and then we do have the extra £2 million to spend on a dilemma if it does come to it? Yeah, we're going to hold back. We're just going as cheap as we can this time, so we've basically just gone for the cheapest part apart from Repsol, which doesn't do much to the improvability either. So can we keep the car cost down at 10? Although the little half a star to the improvability is about a point. It's neither here nor there. For £1 million, we might as well put that back into the car somehow for £1 million. So yeah, we're going to keep it as cheap as possible. £10.8 million. It's cheaper than the car we were running in Formula 3 last season. So 10.8 is coming out, which leaves us with £5 million in the bank, a £5 million overdraft that we can use. We've got some money from the chairman that will open up the season. Sponsors, meanwhile, We're currently down as losing £796,000 per race, although this is going to go up if Charles Leclerc does accept his contract, and there he does accept the contract, so we're going to get him signed into the team. It shouldn't cost much to get rid of Christian Lundgaard. It's going to cost us £500,000. Did we offer him a signing bonus? He's actually injured at the moment, is Charles Leclerc, even though he hasn't been racing, so it costs us £1 million to bring him in. He's 2 stars, so how did he get injured? He should be a 3-star driver. Hopefully he's not injured. He's got the flu, so he's only out 2 weeks. -3. All these are going up. As we went over last episode, he is a born leader, so when he's first place in the race, he gets a +2 boost to everything. He's a racer, he gets a +2 boost to all stats during a race. He does have a first lap hero that gives him a +4 boost to every stat on the first lap of every race. So if he's in the lead on the first lap, as we said, he's pretty much nearly a 5-star driver. So hopefully we're going to be expecting some big things from Charles Leclerc this season. And once again from our champion of last season, Joseph Newgarden. A really nice, strong driver lineup, hopefully, for Formula 2 here. So that does actually put us 5th overall, and that is with Charles Leclerc being a little bit injured at the moment. Well, not really injured, he's under the weather, he's got the flu. So hopefully once he's recovered, we're maybe about the 3rd best driver lineup, which is going to go a long way to keeping us up in Formula 2. We've moved ahead a couple of days. We've got one dilemma through here. Fuel efficiency +1, obviously £2.5 million. We're going to take it. We're going to spend the money on doing this season. That gets us up to just about there. I'm not quite sure how the star ratings work now to the fuel. I've not had a chance to actually go through and look at what happens. We're not actually going to look at the drivers just yet. We're going to skip ahead past that. Maybe there is going to be some other dilemmas. It doesn't quite look like it. We're skipping quite a long way through pre-season here. Doesn't look like there is going to be even another dilemma. So we've just got all these. Latifi joins Dams. Charles is now feeling better as Rapax upgrade their staff centres. Joseph Newgarden is now racing motorbikes, which gives him a boost to his marketability and his smoothness as well, so that is pretty good. So we see Charles Leclerc is nearly a 3-star driver. He's just a little bit under that of Joseph Newgarden. We also now have a dilemma, a unique opportunity. Prema Power Team have been in the news lately after one of their engines caught fire in their garage. The GMA are calling their work practices unsafe. We have an opportunity with our upcoming marketing materials to exploit this mishap and compare it to our superior working conditions. The chairman might not like this because it's not exactly a classy move. Well, obviously, we're going to take the 25 boost to marketability because that is going to give us a lot of money in the long run. Although we are at 4 stars now, so we don't quite have to take it, and we are at 100% anyway. The team marketability has gone up to 100% with winning Formula 3. So we don't even have to accept that, do we? So let's get back to the mail. We're going to say it could happen to anyone, because since we're 100% anyway, there's no reason to upset the chairman. So I'm guessing that is going to be our last dilemma of the pre-season, and it is. We've moved to the livery edit. We'll just go through this quickly. I've got a pretty good idea of what we're actually wanting this season. I do want the gold in the first bit, and then we're going to go with the white. We don't want the all gone car, and I think it was this one that I was liking. Look, there is one somewhere that I did really like the look of. We'll keep the gold to a minimum this time. Maybe go a bit more white, could we? This one looks alright-ish. 15, not enough black on that one. Too much gold on that one. Right, we need to pick one of these quickly, don't we? 22, 23, 24, 24. Let's keep it simple. Where was the one that we actually liked? Somewhere around here, wasn't there? Yeah, let's just stick with that one for this season. We'll keep it simple with the livery edit. So we should be getting to pre-season testing pretty soon. We don't have a lot of money. We should be getting the chairman upfront payment at some point soon. Improvability gains, right. So this is going to help us. A +1, oh, it's going to take off fuel efficiency though. So the star that we gained in fuel efficiency could be taken off to give us a +4 in improvability. I'm still not quite sure what it is. Should we take that risk? I'm not too bothered about the fuel efficiency. We can usually manage it. So improvability seems to be an area where we could really do with the help. This would now give us 2 3/4. That would be +11 to every part that we build this season, which is alright. And we're getting up to pre-season testing now, and just before we do that, we'll have a quick look at the driver lineups. So we'll just have a quick look at the driver lineups. Formula 1 Art Grand Prix, who were promoted last season, have Alonso, 4.5-star rated driver. I'm not quite sure if he's improved or whether he can't have improved at that age. I think Lewis Hamilton is only down as being a 4-star driver. So Fernando, is he rated the best? No, Lewis has improved to a 4.5. Whereas we've got guys like Bottas and Ricciardo at 4. Yes, that's probably just about right for Fernando. So he is in the Art car. They have the worst car. Art looking to do what Rapax didn't do last season. They stuck with their driver lineup from Formula 2, which wasn't that good, at least compared to the other class of drivers in Formula 1. It sent them straight back down. Art are looking to Fernando Alonso to keep them up this season. Force India, meanwhile, have given a Formula 1 return to Timo Glock. It was Valtteri Bottas in this seat last season, whereas Esteban Ocon keeps his seat in the number 2. Then we've got the H1 team of Roman Grosjean, and Daniel Ricciardo joins from Red Bull. McLaren move for Sergio Perez. It looks like he's been here for quite a while now, for a few seasons. So Sergio Perez and Stoffel Van Dorn retain their seats from last season. Mercedes stick with their driver lineup from last season of Lewis Hamilton and Scott Dixon. Red Bull have moved for Valtteri Bottas. So Valtteri Bottas has gone from Mercedes to Force India, now to Red Bull in a lot better car than he was last season. He didn't really do much in the Force India last season. One podium though in the Force India. That's quite good for Valtteri Bottas. Renault stick with their same team from last season, Nico Hülkenberg and Sergei Sorokin. Ferrari have stuck with for the 3rd season in a row in this game with Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Räikkönen. We might as well scout Vettel. And Toro Rosso have also stuck with Danny Kvyat and Carlos Sainz. Meanwhile, at Williams, they've gone with Alex Lynn, who looks like he's been the reserve driver for a few seasons at Williams, and they're retaining the services of Felipe Massa. So their driver lineup is the worst, but they've got a pretty decent car which might be good enough to keep them up. Meanwhile, we go to F2. They've got a created driver. Meanwhile, they've made the move for Ollie Rowland, who last season was with the Dams team. Meanwhile, at Dams, they've got Andretti and Nicholas Latifi. He's been with Dams for a while. So was one of these guys a reserve driver? No. Andretti's just joined this season. It says 2017 there because he did join, but then he's gone on to the 2018 season. So Dams have a pretty good driver lineup. That puts them 5th, behind us even. Whereas we've got Charles Leclerc even, and Joseph Newgarden. We're in 3rd overall with the driver lineup side of things. Graham Rahal and Tom Chilton. The IndyCar invasion of the European Series continues here in Formula 2. We'll get Bruno Senna and Sam Bird from the Virgin Formula E team. I think this is his 1st season. Yeah, it won't be with Prema. They've changed their lineup. They've gotten rid of Maximilian Gunther and Mick Schumacher. Racing Engineering continue the IndyCar trend with Pagenaud and Coselli, a created driver. They demoted Gustav Mahler here to the reserve seat. Surprising. Takuma Sato and Sikoto Jr. retained their season at Rapax. They didn't have the best season last season in Formula 1. They've got the 8th best rated team. They do have the best rated car though, it looks like, going into this season. Whether that is going to stay the same or not. Russian time have got Luca Giotto and Artem Markolo. Meanwhile, the best team, although the car, look at that, the car is a long way off the pace at Sauber, but they do have the best driver lineup with Bourdais and Pascal Wehrlein. And then the last Formula 2 team, Trident, have Nabil Jeffrey and Giuliano Alesi, the son of the great Jean Alesi. Not the best driver lineup though. Yeah, so that is how it's going to be looking going into this season. We're just going to run pre-season testing really quick just to see how quick we are. I wouldn't be expecting us to be anywhere near the pace, but Charles Leclerc is setting an absolutely amazing lap up into 3rd place, 3rd quickest, 92 miles an hour. We look pretty quick. Top speed of 117 looks pretty quick. So I'm guessing the engines, that's a big morale boost to Charles Leclerc. Joseph Newgarden not that happy with the team at the moment. Meanwhile, our car is rated 10th overall, so do we get to look at the car for the first time? So engines have become a spec part at some point in Formula 2. Meanwhile, we've just got to work on the gearbox and the brakes, so we're just going to have a quick look to see what we can build. 25 to max. which is not what we want to be building at this point of the season. Plus 20, so we're going to start off with the gearbox just because that is already, the performance upgrade is already there. Meanwhile, if we go to improve the parts, we only got 2 to work on that aren't quite there reliability wise. 25 days after the race though, and there's only 2 that we can work on as well, so we might as well work on those whilst we can. We're not going to be done, so hopefully these are going to be around the 80% mark ready for the race. Male targets for the 2018 season, so 9th or 7th, 3 million difference. Just so we're not under any risk of getting sacked, we're going to go for 9th, because I'm guessing we are going to be getting some better sponsors this season, because after 3 races we can fill this one with now a 4-star sponsor. After 5 races this will be filmed with a 4-star sponsor. We might get some better 3-star sponsorship offers in these couple of ones, because in the fire mod these slots are down for 3-star sponsors. This one you can get up to a 4-star sponsor, and this one you can get up to a 5-star sponsor. So everything looking up here. The driver lineup looks like it's good enough. We've got the best sponsors as it stands. We're currently losing £1.1 million per race. So if things didn't change with the sponsors as it is, we would be in the red by the end of the season. Although we are saving up a lot for next year's car. We didn't spend a lot. I'm just glad we didn't actually spend a lot on the car heading into this season on the chassis that we designed. So we're just going to skip ahead. I don't think there's that many days until we travel to Dubai, a track last season where we were really poor in qualifying in Formula 3. We're here a lot earlier in the year, so it might not be at the 42-degree temperature that it was at whilst we were here last time. We do have qualifying back in Formula 2 as it was brought back in. Last season they operated under random grid orders for some reason. It got voted in. But anyway, we're going to go ahead. We don't have any bonus sponsorships to actually pick here. We've got Charles Leclerc, we've got Joseph Newgarden. Are they both in similar cars? I didn't actually see who had the best part. 343, there's not much difference between either of these. It looks like, yeah, Newgarden's got the brakes that are a little bit better, whereas Leclerc does have the gearbox that is a little bit better. So we're going to jump into the race weekend now. Practice qualifying will be run off camera as usual, and we'll be back for the only race this episode since we've spent a long time going through the pre-season, and then that ties everything up nicely for 2 races going forward up until the final race of the season. We do only have 13 laps here at Dubai. Don't know whether they've shortened the races down here. I'm not actually sure. Let's just see. Tondela is 17. Now we've got some longer races here as we go through the season, but hopefully we can do decently here at Dubai. But anyway, we'll be back in a moment to go through the race. Qualifying over in Dubai. As you can see, Joseph Newgarden put in an absolutely outstanding lap, a 156.7. After his first lap in qualifying, he was down in about 60th place, about 4/10 off the second. His last lap, he absolutely put in an absolute storm. And Charles Leclerc went a tiny little bit quicker on his second lap, although he was pretty close to Joseph Newgarden. I had to send him out of the pits pretty close together. Newgarden had the better run of the track. Leclerc could have possibly been up there. As you can see, in Formula 2, there's not much difference between top and bottom. 9/10 of a second. Everyone is under a second, within a second of each other. So it looks like it's going to be a really interesting this season, even finishing 5th and 6th if the teams keep swapping about. We might even be able to get promoted with that. We might not be in Formula 2 that long, but we never say never. We do have 2 really good starters, though, Newgarden and Leclerc. Got my tongue all twisted today. Leclerc do have the first lap hero stats, so they're both really good on the first lap. We're just going to have a quick look at what we need for the tyres for this first race. 6, you can only get 6 off this one, 8. So we're going to have to go soft to medium with Newgarden. Is Leclerc any better at... Oh, he's a lot better. So he's going to be able to do this on 2 sets of the soft tyre. We've not stripped much from the car. We've only gained 60 points overall. Although I don't think the AI is doing anything at all with what they're doing. So we're going to select soft and the race trim. So hopefully we can get a decent start here. Hopefully Leclerc can move up the order a little bit in the opening few laps whilst he's at his best in the race. Obviously he does have that +2 stat boost. So when we've got a car running really wide there. Car 18. How far did Kang go off the course? Look at him going back on in the last place. Leclerc is down in 8th place. So Leclerc is possibly the best driver in this, one of the better drivers in this series when it comes to racing. with the +2 stat that he does have, and the +4 on the first lap, although he's not really doing much on the first lap here, although he's going to get back up the order. It's a really long track, is this Dubai track. It takes almost 2 minutes to get round of actual lap time. As we can see, we do it in a 2:02. But Newgarden has lost first place to Coselli in the racing engineering car. We're going to think about just turning things down here a little bit with these tyres as well as we go on. Get these tyres cooled down a little bit. We don't have to look after them too much with Charles Leclerc. He's a little bit better on his tyres than Newgarden, as we know. But Leclerc is under pressure at the moment from Pagenaud. Pagenaud gets past him though. He's got Andretti behind him. Andretti, who's Andretti with him? I'm going to have to get used to who's with what team. He's with the Dams team, that's who he's with. Newgarden, meanwhile, he's down in third place. I'm going to get these tyres back to neutral. That is possibly why we're losing a few places if we try to keep these tyres cool. So our race pace is not what it was last year. We seem to be a lot better in qualifying than we are actually in the race. We're currently 6th and 7th at the moment. Newgarden currently stuck behind Senna, so we might actually go ahead and push the fuel a little bit more now. I'm not quite sure what the reliability is going to be like after this race, but we're getting pretty much there. Leclerc, though, looks like he's getting held up by Newgarden, although we've both managed to get past Senna, as has Andretti. Andretti's going to try to go around the outside of Leclerc. We'll get the inside run there. So Leclerc goes down to 7th place. Newgarden, meanwhile, in 5th place. We're going to start thinking about making some pit stops sooner rather than later, so we're going to push this tyre for 1 lap. We might push it for a little bit more with Charles Leclerc once Newgarden starts to think about coming into the pits, which he is going to do this lap onto the medium tyre. He's going to go balance. Meanwhile, we can push this. Hopefully he can go another lap after this one, Leclerc, whilst pushing all out with this fuel. Meanwhile, we're going to go switch back to medium with Leclerc. So what is Leclerc going to do? Newgarden's tyres have gone all the way down here to 5%. But he's going to get in and out. He's going to have a nice quick lap on this fresh pair of mediums. Leclerc, we're going to have to look after these tyres now. He's going to get back onto the softs. He's coming in this lap. So we're currently in 5th. Where are we going to be? We might as well push him. We've got no choice other than to do that. So Leclerc is going to get into the pits. Everyone else is not in quite yet, so we're going to push medium out of the pits, out into 11th place. He's just behind his teammate, as he was just before he went into the pits, although he seems to be a lot quicker here, so we might... Oh no, Newgarden's starting to pull away now, although we're stuck behind. Has Leclerc got the pace to get past his teammate here? We're going to have to cool these tyres back down. We're going to have to go back into neutral. With Leclerc, we're up into 4th and 5th, which is a little bit better off, and we might be able to get Andretti and Chilton, although we're losing a couple of places here. Leclerc, we're going to have to let, although these cars are too close together. Newgarden's holding up his teammate here. Going to have to try and push Leclerc past him. So, and he does get past him, and then try and cool these tyres back down from this point forward. We can put Newgarden back into neutral. He does have some room to push with his fuel though. And these tyres are not going to get cool with Leclerc, so we're just going to have to push him from this point forward. And go high mode. So Leclerc, it looks like he's got Andretti behind him, really pushing him here. There's 2 or 3 laps to go. Looks like we're going to be able to hold on to 5th and 7th here. Although both drivers are under pressure, although Leclerc's managed to get away from Andretti a little bit. Meanwhile, Newgarden is under pressure, although he's on the back of Andretti. So I think there's 2 laps to go now, which means we can get pushing. Can we chase down the Rapax of Sato and the MP of Rahal? They look to be lapping a little bit slower than we are, and we're going to go pushing from this point forward. Possibly a little bit too much with the tyre wear, but it is our only hope of getting a podium. And we've got Sato breaking down 36% for the last lap. We might just have to go back into high mode. We do have room to go into high mode on the fuel load. Doesn't look like Leclerc is going to get close enough here, so we might as well push this tyre all out. 4th, Newgarden is still currently 7th, although we've got Andretti. Yeah, the tyre's about to go here for Leclerc. He's going to hold on across the line. A 4th place for Leclerc, not bad. Newgarden 7th, not bad from him considering the state of the car at the moment. We do have the worst car in this series. I'm not quite sure by how much, but a 4th and a 7th is nothing to be ashamed of. That is a pretty excellent result for us. I was expecting us to be a little bit further down, maybe about 12th or 14th. So those positions are really good for what we wanted from this first race today as we start to work on the car. Hopefully we can get some money coming to the team. We've picked up 18 points today, so the dams will be above us, but we should be third place in the championship after that, which is not too bad going. We've possibly picked up enough points to also keep ourselves safe at this early point of the season. So everything looking good for this season. Maybe we can even think about picking up a couple of wins this season, which would be amazing. So we're getting a few little bits of increases, not much though. Neither of our drivers really progressing with us, although Charles Leclerc is only 20 years old. He's got a long time to progress with us. He's possibly going to be our main driver going forward. I'll try and keep him until we're in Formula 1 and doing really well until the point we finish his season. Hopefully he will agree to stick around. In F1, Dixon, as he did last season, Scott Dixon wins the first race of the season in Sydney, off to another brilliant start with the Mercedes. Ferrari a little bit off the pace in this first race. Valtteri Bottas doing really well in the Red Bull. Lewis slower than his teammates still for some reason. And yeah, so we've got the scouting report back on Sebastian Vettel. Let's see what he is. 4.5, so pretty much as we would expect to be right up there with Alonso and Hamilton. And we will just have a quick look at the interview. Luca Gotta's the engineer has been telling reporters, so we'll just go that one. It means he will join our team, although he's not really good enough to get in ahead of Leclerc and Newgarden. Jerry Vips is unhappy because we put him in the reserve seat, so he's actually listening to offers, so he does want to leave the team. Not much we can do about that. We do have a new sponsorship coming up, so hopefully we can get a little bit more money in. We've gone down to 1.3, so anything over about 250,000 would be a boost there. But anyway, that is it for this first episode of Season 3. Next race is Tondela. We've got that coming up in the next episode, along with the race in Cape Town, which is the equivalent of Monaco. It's the first time that we will have actually been there in this series, and I think we've got Japan, Canada. There's a few new tracks coming up that we haven't done in this series so far, so that is all to come. It looks like it's going to be alright in Tondela, a little bit of a chance of rain in Monaco, but we'll get to it when we get to it. And we've got ultra softs. Do we actually have any hard tyres this season? I don't think we do. We never actually used a hard tyre in this game so far. But that is it for this episode. Subscribe, like, comment, all the usual stuff. But until next time, I'll see you down the road, and goodbye.